Hello everybody, Assalamualaikum. How are you all? I hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be learning about Science Chapter 1, Our Environment. Our environment. Simple definition of environment. Now we're going to be learning about what is environment. The environment is the surrounding in which we live. An environment includes both living or biotic element or non-living or abiotic elements such as soil, water, animals, plants, etc. The environment constitutes the entire ecosystem. All organisms in the environment share a bond and are interdependent to maintain a balance in the ecosystem. Environment includes the natural and human-made phenomena surrounded that surround living organisms. The natural environment includes biotic factors like plants and animals, and abiotic factors like land, water, and air. The human environment comprises human activities and interactions. Difference between living and non-living things. Now, living things. Living things show movement of the parts of their body, while non-living things never move on their own effort. Number two, they grow. Not living things grow. Living things such as us humans, we grow. Now, non-living things here do not show any growth. Living things reproduce, while non-living things do not reproduce. Living things can feel, like if we touch a pillow, we can see it's soft. We can feel. While on the other hand, non-living things cannot feel. Living things respire, while non-living things do not respire. They excrete waste materials, while non-living things do not excrete any waste materials. We living things such as us, humans, we need food for energy. If we don't have food, we will become weaker, while non-living things do not need any food. They don't even need energy. Relationship between living and non-living things, or how do living things depend on non-living things. Okay, now we're going to learn about living things like us uh, depends on like how we depend on air, non-living things like air, water, etc. Living and non-living components are interdependent. Living organisms rely on non-living components for basic needs such as water, air, and nutrition. We human beings need these. Also plants, animals, we all living things need these stuff to live. Like air is the most important. If we cannot like survive a minute without air. Water, we need to drink water to stay hydrated, and nutrition. This means that living things depend in, on their interactions with each other and with non-living things for survival. For example, a tree depends on sunlight for energy to make its own food, and a snail depends on the tree for food. The living things and are dependent on the non-living things for survival. Without water, food, or air, living things will cease to exist. So non-living thing is really important to us. How do us human beings depend on non-living things in their life? All animals depend on non-living things, humans also. Some non-living things are so important that human cannot live without them, like air and water. Air is one of the most important elements because air contains the gas oxygen. More specifically, human beings need air to breathe, water to drink, and food to get nutrition for survival. They also they are also using soil for growing crops and land to build their shelter, etc. And all these elements are the non-living things. So human beings depend on non-living things to complete their life. So we can see how much important living non-living things are to us human beings, to all living things like animals, plants, and us human beings also. Now we're gonna see how do plants and animals depend on each other. Plants and animals are interdependent. Plants consume carbon dioxide and give up oxygen to air and prepare food, thus are producers. Animals consume plants and plant products such as fruits, vegetables, etc. sort of stuff. They also absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide for plants. The, the dead and decaying animals act as nutrition to animals. All animals depend for food for their food directly or indirectly on green plants. For example, plants give out oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. The oxygen so liberated is used by animals and plants for their respiration. For shelter, some animals depend on plants for shelters. Plants, on the other hand, relies on animals in the aspect of pollination and photosynthesis. Animals like birds, bees plants help plants to spread pollen grains. When animals die, they decompose and become natural fertilizer, which is used as nutrition for plant growth. In this picture, we can see it explains all of this. As we can see, plants cannot live without animals, and animals cannot live without plants. So they both are important equally to each other. Energy flow. Energy flow is the flow of energy through living things within an ecosystem. In an energy ecosystem, the form of energy just changes. For, for instance, plants create energy through photosynthesis. How do animals depend on other living things to get energy? Animals get their energy from the food they eat. Animals depend on other living things for food. Some animals eat plants while others eat other animals. This passing of energy from the sun to plants from plants to animals to other animals is called a food chain. In every environment, plants and animals depend on each other for food, water, shelter, and space. Living organisms depend on each other and on their environments or habitats to meet their needs for survival. We call this interdependence. A food chain is one way to show interdependence. But in this picture, we can see an insect, grasshopper. It's I don't know grasshoppers eat grass, but ins some insects do eat grass. Then the insect is eaten by a frog. Then that frog is eaten by a snake. Then the snake is eaten by a eagle. Here we can see energy is passing. That is called that is called a food chain. Food chain. Food chain starts with plants as producers, then goes to herbivores as primary consumers, then to carnivores as secondary consumers, and sometimes even to top predators called tertiary tertiary consumers. And decomposers help recycle nutrients back into the soil. So that is how a food chain works. Food web. Now what is food web? A food web is a tool that illustrates the feeding relationship among the species within a within a specific habitat. Food web. A food web contains of all the food chains in a single ecosystem. Now you guys might be confused. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is made up of all the living and non-living things that interact in an area. The food web is a big, interconnected network of food chains. In an ecosystem, there are many different plants and animals, and they all interact with each other in various ways. Some animals eat only one type of food, while others may eat multiple types of food. A food web helps us understand these connections. You, we can see there are examples shown in the picture. What are the difference between food chain and food web? Food chain. Food chain is a connection of multiple food chains. Food web. Many interconnected food chains make up a food web. Food chain follows a single path. Food web follows a multiple paths. Example of food chain. Grass or producers are eaten by goat, primary consumers. Then the goat is eaten by humans. This is weird to say. Secondary, secondary, they are secondary consumers. While in food web, grass to rat, rat to fox, fox to a snake, and snake to a hawk, grass to antelope, an antelope to a cheetah to a hawk, tree to a rhino, rhino to a lion, tree to a giraffe, and the giraffe to a lion. Conclusion: protecting the environment and all ecosystem is mandatory for ensuring a healthy future for the next generations. Caring for the planet and adopting sustainable behaviors are essential for creating the perfect environment for plants and animals to live in.